Hello again, my friends, and welcome to the new people. I am really glad that you have found your way here, and I can't wait to hopefully give you something that makes you think and entertains you. That's my overall goal here. I saw this tweet from Niche Gamer yesterday, and I'm sure it's been covered to death by now. The whole one video a day thing kind of makes it a little impossible to stay right on top of things, but at the same time, I want to talk most about what sparks my mind at the moment, or let's face it, you won't get a very good video. And what they say here is, while we do agree with the base sentiment of gaming companies overplaying their hands per se, unfortunately we can't cover this particular story or more stories like it without potentially getting punished by the PR firms hired by those same game companies who we have to rely on to get access to video games for review and coverage purposes, ranging from smaller, because a lot of those same PR people support the people who hold these similar views, like what Elon is referring to here. We're already having significant issues and experiencing roadblocks regarding getting access to AAA titles because we have covered the Sweet Baby Inc. stories alone. It's quite unfortunate. And the tweet they're referring to is, it should not be acceptable for any company in the gaming industry to be racist and sexist against white guys. And I've seen a lot of people basically attack Niche Gamer for not being willing to stand up. And I understand that sentiment, absolutely. It would be nice if they could. It would be nice if they would. But at the same time, I don't know how large company Niche Gamer is. I'm sure they have a number of people who would like to continue getting a paycheck and feeding their kids and don't want to have to find an entirely different job. But I think an important thing to acknowledge in terms of what they're saying here, and don't be fooled, what they're saying here is going to get them in trouble. It absolutely is, because they are basically giving us backhandedly, one might say that they're even trying to be a little sly about it, though not very. They are basically saying that we're right, that we're absolutely right, that the nepotism and game playing, one might, if you are old enough to remember the word, remember the term payola from the 1980s in regards to radio marketing and songs, where bands and PR firms and record labels would actually pay radio stations to play certain songs more than they did others. It was a whole big scandal. A really good movie called Airheads that covers it. I recommend watching it. It has, well, Brendan Fraser and Adam Sandler, the guy with the weird eyes, who I can't remember his name, but it was a really good movie. Now on from the movie recommendations. But what they're saying here is we're right. We were right originally in Gamergate before it was taken over by the feminists to push an agenda, to push a message that wasn't there. We were right. We have been right. We are still right. But because they're in a position where they want to continue their jobs, basically, they don't want to push too hard. They don't need to. And honestly, I said this in a quote tweet about this, that what's going on here is not a battle that can be fought in the media. The large media firms, or even in this case, smaller media firms, aren't going to be the deciding factor in this fight. This fight is for the gamers. This fight is for all of us who believe that gaming is about the games and not about agenda, not about messaging, not about race, not about sex, not about gender, not about trying to brainwash people, not about anything other than the games. This is who this fight has to be fought by. And the way we have to fight it is we have to speak out online, obviously. We have to vote. More importantly, more important than speaking in any way, is voting with your wallets, voting with your time. I do feel the best thing we can absolutely do is starve them for the one thing they want the most, and that is attention. Attention and money. In many cases, money comes from attention. But if we start very wisely looking at this, taking our time, as much as I love gaming, it is a luxury. It is a luxury activity that in our current time is getting more and more expensive. So we have to be more and more picky anyway. Instead of giving our money and our even more valuable time to these gaming companies that don't care about us, to these people who want to do nothing but attack us, to these assholes who just see us as a cow to be milked, and instead focus on those companies who are giving us what we want. Gaming companies who genuinely are producing products that people want. Helldivers is a great example. They've gone out and created something that I've only played 2 missions, but I enjoyed it and I plan to play more. But they put together an excellent game, very straightforward, excellent graphics, well, I guess maybe not excellent graphics. I could get slaughtered in the comments for that, because there are some people who are absolutely graphic whores out there. So, but good graphics, good gameplay, very good gameplay loop, easy to get along and play with your friends and yell at each other and shoot each other and have a bunch of fun. And, you know, we have other games. I know a lot of people haven't enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Nightingale. They're very responsive to their customer base. They've had problems and they've responded immediately to them. They actually seem to care. And when it comes to gaming now, that is a rare quality, to have developers who genuinely care about the experience their players are having. There are plenty of other games out there like that, though. We just have problems finding them because shovelware, and it's so easy in some ways. I'm going to be honest. In some ways, it is very easy to develop a game or to create a game. Let's put it that way. It is very easy to create a game because there's a difference between a game creator and a game developer. At least in my opinion, a developer spends far more time bringing the game along, taking it through the various stages, making sure that it is a complete, full experience for their players, and then providing service after the fact. A game creator, not necessarily. A lot of them, whip out a game and drop it on Steam and hope that maybe someone buys it. And sometimes that's good and sometimes it sucks. Niche gamer isn't trying to not be in the fight, but they are trying to play their cards carefully. I understand people being frustrated and angry with them, and I don't want to say don't take it out on them because, y'all are adults. You'll do whatever the fuck you want. But I do think that it is important to step back and think a little bit about how we can fill the void that they almost have to leave. A way for us to step forward and be sure that this is heard. When I am in an argument, I always do my best to explain my point at the basis level. And this irritates some people because they'll bring up other things, and that's not where I am yet. So I don't put that point into the consideration of where I am in terms of the road to get where I want to be. I have to resolve one thing and then the next and then the next. I can be very linear in that regard. And right now on my linear path, what I'm seeing is that first, we need to make sure we have a unified idea of what we want. And I think we do. I think we have a unified idea that what we want are game developers to develop good games. Games that are fun to play, games that don't preach to us, games that don't try to change our worldview, and more importantly, games that we can play. Now, I think the next step is to figure out how we, the people, achieve that next step. How are we going to say that? And I think the more voices we have out here, the more people speaking, the more people firmly stating our opinion. In short, I don't think that we should be hanging niche gamer out to dry, but we should look at what they're giving us. They're giving us confirmation. They're giving us the information that we need to plan our next moves going forward. They're telling us that they're operating exactly how we think they're operating, and they always have been. They're telling us that we need to focus on our fight by these people. We need to focus on these PR firms. We need to focus on these large game companies. We need to check out the smaller companies to be sure of who we're working with, who we're giving our money to, who we're giving our time to. And we are going to be the front line on this. Everybody keeps spamming hashtag hold the line. And I think that's great, because that's what we have to do. We can't be pulled into this Istanphobe conversation again, because that's not the conversation. That's the conversation they want to have. That's the position they want us to have. Because that's the position they know how to fight against. They don't know how to fight against us saying, no, this is just bad and we want something better. They don't know how to deal with that. And I think if we can hold ourselves to that, I think that we can get through this. I think that we can absolutely beat them to a pulp. But I think it's also going to take things like game developers from within our own ranks coming forward. And there are some good ones out there. There are some, what is his name? So then there's someone like Ultimate Mr. Behavior, who's been working on his pixel art and his game design. And I'm sure there are others. He's just one I'm immediately able to remember off the top of my head this very minute. But we need more people like this. We need people who are going in and doing the work. We need to do the things they're not willing to do. And we have been in the past, because it was just natural. Now they've come in and they've decided that instead of doing the work, they just want to take the work from other people, because that's what commies do. But we need to make sure that we're filling these spaces, and we don't need to do that by That's the thing. We don't need to do it by infiltrating the AAA companies. We don't need to do it by getting into the AA companies. What we need to do is start our own shit again and build it, and then remember not to let just anybody in to play with it. Yes, I'm advocating for gatekeeping. There's a huge difference between gatekeeping and being an asshole. There's nothing wrong with telling people that we don't like. There's nothing wrong with keeping people out who want to change our shit. That's what I have for today, guys. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you agree, if you disagree, if you like it, if you don't like it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Click the notification bell so you know when I upload new videos. I'm trying to do one every day. Catch me on my live streams, which I'm eventually going to post something so that you know when they're occurring, but one thing at a time. And, oh, yeah, also I'm the Abysmal Critic now. So thank you for joining me here at the Abysmal Critic. I've still got to fix this thing so that it says the right thing. Anyway, y'all have a good day. I'll catch you later.